Over the course of several months, the federal government has loaned more than $160 billion in the form of Small Business Administration loans, or SBA loans. In July, the agency's inspector general sounded the alarm on what he termed rampant fraud in the program. And that's now hitting home for one Lexington man. Evening Edition's Claire Crouch took a look at his situation for this LEX 18 Investigates report.
Harry Dents has spent the last 20-plus years working in electronics.
And I also own and operate Service Electronics Supply.
Retired now, he still does repairs out of his house. He is smart about his cybersecurity and aware of how easily identity theft can occur in the age of the internet. So when he checked his mail on September 1st and opened up a statement for a $150,000 SBA loan that he didn't apply for, alarm bells started going off.
Well, what first went through my head, you're not going to put on TV. But what went through next is, how do I straighten this out? Oh, there was no anticipation at all.
At first, he thought maybe the paperwork was bogus. But he says after some investigation and a check of his credit report, he realized someone had in fact applied for a large SBA loan in his name for a business that doesn't appear to exist.
The document is in the name Dents Poultry, and we don't have any idea what that is. We're thinking it might be a misspelling of the word poultry. The closest thing that I found was a poultry company, a chicken feed supplier in the South American country of Guyana, and they have a phone number that rings in Fujian, China.
He searched around on the internet and came across similar cases in West Palm Beach, Florida. Our sister station, WPTV, did some digging there. Those people were victims of an identity theft scam and were able to quickly contact the Secret Service and intercept the money before it got to the alleged criminals. But for Dents, the road hasn't been as smooth.
So I tried to track down the Small Business Administration through their published numbers in the state of Kentucky. And just an absolute zoo. Most of them don't get answered. The ones that do refer you to other numbers that don't get answered.
Dent says after contacting the SBA fraud hotline, he was told investigators would be in touch. Over a month later, he still has not heard from anyone. He says he's not surprised, he's disappointed.
Since the SBA wouldn't tell me where the loan was originated, I don't know what bank where did this. But they obviously have no knowledge of who I am. And they're, wiring money all over the country or whatever they're doing to disperse this for some guy who's supposedly in Kentucky that they've never met. It's a very cavalier approach for a bank to be taking.
Dents' lawyer also sent a demand letter to the SBA to prove he owes the money. No response from that. And finally, he too tried the Secret Service and was told they would contact him. Again, more silence. So we made some phone calls as well to try and figure out how something like this happens. The SBA office issuing to us a statement saying, quote, "The SBA is not able to comment on specific fraud cases. Evidence of waste, fraud, and abuse with any of SBA's loan programs is not tolerated and should be reported," end quote. So we reached out to the Kentucky Attorney General's office. LaDonna Coble, executive director of the Office of Senior Protection at the Attorney General's office, says the amount of fraud since the pandemic began only continues to skyrocket. But she says their office has only heard of one such case similar to Mr. Dents's.
During COVID, our office has been overwhelmed with the number of scam reports. As a matter of fact, if you look at August, our reports compared to August of 2019 were up nearly 8,000% in dollar losses. And that trend has started in March and has just continued.
In terms of the SBA, Coble says they have seen more grant-related scams. Contact being made to an individual saying they qualify to receive money if they just give some information. Coble says in a case like Dents's, it would have to be an elaborate identity theft scam to actually get a bank loan. Without further information on the investigation, she just urges caution and taking advantage of the new change allowing people to check their credit reports once a week.
It's possible that someone utilized this individual's social security number, and people find the social security numbers, they get it in different ways. Usually you've inadvertently clicked on something, it could have been a data breach. If someone actually used his social security number to apply for a loan, he'll be able to figure that out and find out whether it's legitimate.
Dent says he isn't all that worried. He knows he ultimately won't have to pay a dime, and he has taken the appropriate steps to protect his credit. But what he still wants to know is how this could happen, a question we are still waiting to get answered ourselves.
My concern is that the government has an opportunity, if they act quickly, to perhaps get the money back, and I'd like to see that happen, but everybody's busy doing other stuff.
In Lexington, Claire Crouch, LEX 18 News.
For more information about how to report concerns of fraud or scamming to the SBA, go to lex18.com. You can also find out how to get a weekly check of your credit reports. Good idea.